Hello, my name is Rebecca Moore. This is my applied analytical project number 3. It is based on the mental health status of EIU students. The data collected was based on GAD-7 and PHQ-9 scores. GAD-7, the purpose of that is to assess severity of generalized anxiety disorder symptoms. The scoring is based on 7 items, scored 0 to 3 points for a total score range of 0 to 21. Interpretation, the cutoff scores are 5 is mild, 10 moderate, 15 severe. PHQ-9 scores, the purpose is to assess severity of the depressive symptoms. The scoring is 9 items, scored 0 to 3, with a total score range of 0 to 27. The cutoffs for these scores is 5 mild, 10 moderate, 15 moderately severe. For the comparison of the difference between the two, or similarities, both screen for anxiety and depression. They are both self-reported questionnaires, and it is the value that it gives us is it guides treatment and helps monitor progress over time. The population sample for the GAD-7 and PHQ-9 descriptive statistics and confidence intervals. For the GAD-7, based on the random sample of 152 participants, the estimate of the average GAD-7 score in the sample population is 9.83 with a 95% confidence interval of plus or minus 0.73. And for the PHQ-9, based on the same random sample of 152, the estimate of the average PHQ-9 score in the sample population is 11.53 with a 95% confidence interval of plus or minus 0.70. We did some hypothesis testing. And for our first scenario, we ask, on average, do freshmen have a significantly higher level of general anxiety than the estimate of the population of student respondents? And yes, we do find that based on the random sample of the 30 freshmen, we do find a significant difference between their mean GAD-7 score and the mean estimate of the population. Our T obtained of 2.01 falls within the critical region of positive 1.70 for the one-tail comparison. So we do reject the null hypothesis of no different and estimate with 95% confidence that on average, freshmen have a significantly higher level of generalized anxiety than the estimate of the population of student respondents. So we went another step further and we ask, on average, do freshmen have a significantly different level of general anxiety than juniors? And we find once again that yes, based on the independent random samples of 30 freshmen and 70 juniors, we do find a significantly different GAD scores, because our T obtained of 2.76 falls within the T critical value of plus or minus 1.98. We reject the null hypothesis of no difference. And we estimate that with 95% confidence that on average, freshmen do have a significantly different level of general anxiety than juniors. So for our third scenario, we conducted an ANOVA test, and we ask, on average, does a student's general anxiety during the COVID-19 pandemic differ by undergraduate class ranking? Once again, we do find that based on the independent random samples of 30 freshmen, 34 sophomores, 70 juniors, and 18 seniors, that we do find that significantly different test scores between the GAD-7 scores, because our F obtained of 3.33 is greater than the F critical value of 2.67. We reject the null hypothesis of no difference and estimate that with 95% confidence that a student's general anxiety during the COVID-19 pandemic did differ by undergraduate class ranking. We wanted to determine exactly which class had the difference. So we conducted two-tailed comparisons, and we discovered that juniors do have lower GAD-7 scores than other class ranks, including seniors, sophomores, and freshmen. And we discovered that freshmen have higher GAD-7 scores than all the other class ranks as well. We conducted our scenario 4 to determine whether the anxiety is on average, does a student's general anxiety during the COVID-19 pandemic differ by field of study? But we found that based on the independent random samples of 30 arts and humanity majors, 30 social science majors, 32 STEM majors, and 30 business majors, and 30 health science majors, that we do not find a significant difference between their mean GAD scores because our F obtained of positive 0.27 is less than the F critical value of 2.43. We failed to reject the null hypothesis of no difference, and we do estimate with 95% confidence that any difference is based on random chance by sampling error. This was the ANOVA testing of all 5 areas. On scenario 5, we asked, do STEM students have a significantly lower level of general anxiety than the population of student respondents? Once again, based on the random sample of 32 STEM students, we do not find a significant difference between their mean GAD-7 scores and the mean estimate of the population because our T obtained of negative 0.61 is not within the T critical value of 1.70. We fail to reject the null hypothesis of no different and estimate that with 95% confidence, any difference is due to random chance by sampling error. On our last hypothesis, we looked at gender and we asked, on average, do male respondents have a significantly lower level of depression than female respondents? And we found that based on the random sample of 60 men and 66 women, that we do find a significant difference between their mean PHQ-9 scores and the mean estimate of the population, because our T obtained of negative 7.75 falls within the T critical value of plus or minus 1.66. We reject the null hypothesis of no difference. I'm sorry. Our T critical value of plus or minus negative 1.98. We reject the null hypothesis of no difference and estimate that with 95% confidence that on average, male respondents do have significantly lower levels of depression than female respondents. So for the conclusions and recommendations, my conclusions are freshmen have significantly higher levels of anxiety than other class ranks, while juniors have lower levels of anxiety than other class ranks. Anxiety is not experienced differently based on field of study, and males have significantly lower levels of depression than women. For my recommendations, targeted support for freshmen. We can develop orientation programs or workshops specifically tailored to address the higher levels of anxiety experienced by freshmen. And we can implement mentoring programs where upperclassmen or faculty members can provide support and guidance to freshmen during their transition to college. For field neutral mental health initiatives, we can develop mental health awareness campaigns and support services that are accessible and relevant to students across all fields of study. We can provide resources such as online counseling services, peer support groups, or mindfulness workshops that cater to the diverse needs of students regardless of their field of study. For gender-specific mental health support, we can design mental health programs tailored to address the higher levels of depression experienced by women. We can offer workshops or support groups focusing on coping strategies specifically relevant to the experiences and challenges faced by women. And we can conduct further research to explore the underlying factors contributing to the gender disparity in depression rates and develop targeted interventions accordingly. We can conduct longitudinal studies to track the mental health status of students over time, assessing changes in anxiety and depression levels as they progress through the different stages of their college experience. And we can investigate potential factors influencing mental health trajectory, such as academic workload, social support networks, extracurricular involvement, etc. And we could also do intersectional approaches by exploring the intersectionality of identity factors, race, ethnicity, socioeconomic status, with anxiety and depression levels among college students. We could also develop programs that consider the unique challenges faced by students with increasing intersecting identities and provide tailored support to address their mental health needs. Thank you very much.